Gonna talk about Tommy Tellerico.
Ian, has your excitement for the Amico been ruined?
My excitement for the Amico has, in fact, been ruined. Someone over at comicbookresource.com, let me get their name here, wrote up Cassidy Stevenson, wrote up an article called Intellivision Amico, 10 Things That Have Soured Fan Excitement for the Console. And it's again, like a lot of these articles that have been coming out, doesn't go super, super deep, but it's a good recap and it's a good thing for people to see if you are genuinely learning about the Amico. And you Google it. This is the sort of thing that you want to see because it delivers information.
And it's a listicle.
Yeah, it delivers information in a fast, concise way. So we're just going to go down through these real quick here. 10, the release of the Intellivision Amico has been delayed 3 times. Sure enough.
That can sour excitement.
That is absolutely a warning sign. The lack of game options to play. And then she goes on to talk about it will have 6 games with it: Astro Smash, Shark, Skiing, Cornhole, Farkle, and a still unidentified 6th game. It's like they forgot about that 6th game. They're probably hoping people forgot about it.
They're hoping that's going to be the killer app. And they said about 20 to 30 additional games will be available for purchase when the Amico launches. Okay.
That's what they say. Okay. And then one new game will be released on the shop every 10 to 14 days, which was something that Tommy definitely said in the past. It would probably change his tune on now if someone complained about it. Because it's all misinformation. But yeah, one new game after your initial slate of 15-minute long games is played through every 2 weeks that's not a recipe for success.
We can do the dramatic number 8.
The dramatic price increase for a retro console. Yeah, there's no way it should be as expensive as it is. Tommy has said before that the price point is I don't know how else to put it, artificially inflated. Yeah, he said the markup is huge on it.
It was going to be $149 to $179.
Yep.
And then I misspoke about the price. I got attacked. And Tommy tried to say all my opinions were wrong because of that. And I ended up being right in my prediction of the price anyway.
But he has bragged to people on the message board about how the markup is incredible on these things.
Yeah,
and that retailers
love us.
I'm hosing you for this shit. Retailers love us because of it. Why would you say that?
This is 6-year-old cell phone tech. And that should cost $120 maybe. But you know what? That's fine.
The target audience is unclear. Not a whole lot more to say about that one because that's been my problem since day one. And no matter how many 100 people, 200 people try to tell me that the market is for them, okay, then you're the market and you can have fun with it. But the market is already occupied.
When we say there's no market, we mean to sustain a product and an ecosystem to have it be viable. Of course, there's going to be.
I know what their target audience is, but that target audience doesn't exist. Nintendo ate it up.
Yes, it's got to be people that know the Intellivision, that have kids and grandparents, but don't play the games on the cell phone, but like cell phone quality type of games, Ian, but they may not play. You start doing aerobics in order to justify like what the smallest concentric circle point of what the hell that is. Yeah.
Number 6. There's no online multiplayer. This has a ... yet. I would get rid of the ... yet. I don't think there's ever going to be online multiplayer. Tommy was really heavily touting early on that there was not going to be any multiplayer because it's a family-friendly system. So, instead of trying to figure out how to do it, they hate multiplayer online. So instead of trying to figure that out, it just wasn't going to be there. Now, apparently they are quoting a line that says, Intellivision stated, "We are looking into more online gaming and sharing features, but they will have to fit into our overriding family-friendly goals for Amico." I don't think there's ever going to be a play on this. They don't even have a web store set up yet. There is talk about online leaderboards. I love online leaderboards. I think any score attack-based game should absolutely have a leaderboard. Whether we'll even get those, though, remains to be seen.
This is an important point about why there's no market for this. The days where, Cassidy writes, the days where kids hang out in person to play video games are long over. They probably still exist here and there, but for the most part, they're not ever.
Well, they do,
back.
and it's fun. But yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know. It's like fighting against having a phone or something.
Yes.
You're.
This is another reason why our audience will be disappointed due to how accustomed kids are to playing games like Fortnite online.
You can't go back to the way before technology.
Yeah. And obviously, the other thing they miss out on is that Twitch is so much a part of young kids playing games and the experience as well. If you don't have, Twitch streamers playing this stuff, that's a huge tool to get kids even involved to begin with. We never bring that up, how there's not going to be kids even streaming Amico. There's no way to then share it to other kids easily. And that's the free advertising that you want is that
Right.
streaming. We didn't bring that up, but that's a huge dent against a product like this. Number 5, touchscreen design of the controllers. We'll just say the controllers, but touchscreen. 2 wireless Bluetooth controllers come with the console, and players are able to download an app on their mobile device. Yeah, whatever.
No one likes using touchscreens in lieu of buttons. No one.
If the Amico is supposedly designed to be a family-friendly console to play at get-togethers, a touchscreen controller will be difficult for grandparents to figure out. That's a great point. Unless you say, well, they're used to playing on phones.
I don't think it. I was gonna say I don't think it needs to be. I think it probably that's one area I disagree. Touchscreen is going to be, I think, a bit more inviting than something with a lot of buttons on it. I just don't think it's going to translate to anything beneficial.
It's the combination of the different things at one time. If it was just a touchscreen,
sure.
But now you have to have a touchscreen with shoulder buttons with the control pad. You're throwing all these different eras of technology together.
Don't take me wrong or get me wrong. I don't think it's a good controller. I just don't think a touchscreen is the problem.
Well, the touchscreen's not going to be used as a touch. It's going to be used as a button press.
Yeah.
Too. It's not. You're not going to be dragging things around on this.
No, absolutely not.
Number 4.
No physical editions of the games. Suck it. You can say whatever you want. That doesn't count. No cartridge slot for old Intellivision
Number 3.
games. That's number 3. This was never promised, and this is something that people always bring up. I get it, but this, to me, is why the Amico, this highlights, I don't think this is actually a problem because it was never promised. Would it be nice? Yes. I think what this highlights, the no cartridge slot for old Intellivision games being at number 3, is that the Amico has been very bad about conveying what it is and who it's for, as we've said a number of times. So much so that like 50% of the people who have this pre-ordered, who aren't really following along, but occasionally pop up in like Reddit or online, always say, really excited to play those old games reimagined. Like they're just going to get 50 Intellivision games reimagined like those Atari compilations.
Sure.
They have no idea what's going on. And there are people out there who still think it's supposed to play old Intellivision games, and then they're surprised, like this person, when they find out that it doesn't, because he's never really conveyed that. It's obviously appealing more to a retro mindset, and these people want that sort of stuff in there, but it's not there.
As an aside, I'm shocked that they wouldn't I'm shocked that they didn't just put out as one of their physical products, not reimagined, just a bunch of old Intellivision games. Like, I'm just surprised they didn't do that. If they have the rights to them, why not put out the original Intellivision games, like they do on the Evercade? But for the Amico, I'm surprised they didn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised.
No, I am too.
Because that would have been a pure cash-in, but easy to get.
Yep.
Number 2, lack of gameplay shown. Yeah, I mean, you can say, well, they showed them at events where you have 24 hours notice to get to some of these games, but there has been no super in-depth gameplay footage shown publicly. When I say publicly, I mean like YouTube videos saying we're going to play Fitting and Fox for 15 minutes straight. We're going to play Evel Knievel. You're going to see all the different modes and features in different stage designs. This is what you can. There's been no real details shared about these individual games at all.
No.
Gameplay features, different stage, like what the goals are of these games. We have that fucking Brain Duel game. We've seen nothing of that game, and that's a physical product. We've seen just like a placeholder text on an image in one of the fucking trailers, and they sold that as a physical product. Nothing for that game, for the Amico. Someone says, well, that's a remake of another game that's out there. The whole point is
which one?
The Brain Duel.
Oh, yeah.
The Brain Duel. The point is that for the mass audience, these have not been seen.
No. And all we've seen of the other games so far has been despite the fact that they say it's been shown plenty of times, we have seen in total, with the exception of a small handful of games that honestly aren't going to change a whole lot. We've seen a dedicated commercial's worth of footage maybe for each one. The amount of footage we've seen would be like looking at one of those. It's almost like looking at one of those old Nintendo posters and picking out which games you like from a single screenshot.
Yeah,
we arguably, with the exception of stuff like Rigid Force Redux, which you can get like right now, we know absolutely nothing of substance about any of these games.
Oh no, Utopia. When you see like 3 seconds of it, like.
Did they even show that? I thought they haven't shown that yet. But like Cloudy Mountain, for instance.
That's what I mean. Cloudy Mountain.
I was gonna say, you can't tell what's going on. It has a nice visual look.
But you literally
it.
see 7 seconds of the game. And
that's the thing. These people have got a lot of these people have gotten so dead set on these games being the system sellers, and they're literally going off of no information.
Yeah.
Night Stalker looks good. It has an interesting look. It has a thematic look to it.
We don't know what it's
Cloudy Mountain has a thematic look to it.
Yeah.
Why can't we see? These are games that are going to be meatier than the other games. Why aren't we allowed to see
Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim.
The only
I mean, Tommy's kind of right in some ways. I mean, he kind of put his foot in his mouth when he said, what do people want to see these videos? Like, how much can we show? Well, you're right. For a lot of these games, you can't show a lot because there's fucking nothing to them.
There's nothing that exists.
There's nothing to them. You can't do a 10-minute long video on Sideswipers because no one will buy the fucking game when they realize that it's just driving around in a track and crashing into each other at intersections.
Or when you realize that that's literally what skiing is. It's 15 minutes and then you're probably done.
10 levels, no difficulty options. From the words of Tommy, from the mouth of Tommy himself.
That's shovelware. That's shovelware. That's probably worse than shovelware when you think about it. And number 1, the Amico falls flat when compared to the Switch.
Yes.
Price points similar to the Switch. It's more expensive than the Switch Lite. The Switch might do a $50 deduction at some point to get people to buy. You know what I mean? Like, it's been out for 4 years, 4.5 years at this point, the Switch.
Yeah.
Another option is emulating Intellivision games that gamers have a desire to play. This is Cassidy finishing up. The Intellivision Amico is a way to play remasters of old games, but unlike the Switch, cannot promise new franchises. Therefore, it will be easy to run out of games to play on the Amico. Yeah, because it won't produce enough.
Right.
I mean, like,
and again, beating a dead horse. This is going back to they view launch as the finish line.
I think it's funny when people say, "Oh, the Switch has so many games. It's not curated." You'll be dead before you get through the amount of games that are available on the Switch. With the Amico, you're not guaranteed to like every game produced. So let's say it launches with 20 games. Let's say it does. Not
everyone's going to be scrambling to buy Spades when it drops that Friday.
Yeah, the monster card game is not going to be one necessarily everyone wants to buy. Not everyone was going to buy Evel Knievel. Not everyone's going to buy Brain Duel. The attach rate of a game to a system, unless it's a killer app, you maybe get up to like 30, 40, 50%. But like most of the games, you're looking at 10%, 5%, unless they're the dyed-in-the-wool people that will have to buy every single game. Most people can't do that. Most people won't do that. Most people won't buy every game. So you're going to run out of games to play. You absolutely will. Mm-hmm. And that's a great point that we don't hit upon enough. But, it's hard to communicate, Ian, what's going on with the console, of course, when you don't put out gameplay videos. But it seems like, according to Atari H4...
Oh, there's going to be an FAQ soon, an official FAQ.
An FAQ update that is being crowdsourced right now in the good old Atari Age forums. Tommy's literally asking people to submit questions to update the FAQ. So there's
what a brave boy.
No more misinformation out there. Information direct from the horse's mouth. You think that you would have had your FAQ finished about your physical product before it was in people's hands and got their money for it. But hey, I'm just crazy. In terms of knowing about how RFID works and whether or not, you'll be able to, if someone will be able to steal your game and put the code on your system, you think that would be all buttoned up and clear before the product is in people's hands. But like, we don't know when the console's coming out anyway, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's clown show stuff.
Yep.
You're crowdsourcing information about your multi-million-dollar company for your product. Like you have investors, you have people that think for some reason that this can compete with other video game companies. Like at some point you have to act like a real company at that point. You imagine if Nintendo waded into a forum and said, "Hey everyone, Switch is coming out. What are some questions you want us to answer about our product before we put it in your hand?" What? What? You should know every question that a consumer is likely to ask if you know what your product does and what it doesn't do.
In an alternate universe, or not an alternate universe, if it was a different company, I actually wouldn't be so upset with that question. It's the fact that he's asking the questions in the Atari Age forum where he knows he's free of criticism.
That's true too.
That's my problem. I have no problem with a company coming out and being like, "Hey, we want to make sure we covered all the bases. What do you want to know about?" I have zero problems with that. My problem is the fact that he's doing it from an incredibly sheltered position, which means that a lot of hard questions aren't going to be tossed at him.
Well, you're not going to put hard questions and answers in an FAQ anyway. I mean, he wouldn't, at least.
No.
He just wouldn't. And then there was other shocking things that were posted here, where he's talking about. Okay, here's a post, Ian. We've been very busy the past week and haven't had much time to respond. We don't usually go into Tommy's posts, but he reveals a few things here that are super weird. About the RFID. Just because someone buys an RFID reader and scans a link on our card doesn't mean there isn't other encrypted data on the RFID. What? Okay, so now, he's saying that URL is going to be encrypted in some way. There's going to be something else.
There's more data on the RFID, but anyone who knows anything about RFID knows it holds very, very little data. Usually, a string of about 6 numbers.
So is he saying that the scanners, there's like stuff in there that's not being scanned that was been reported on? Is that what he's saying?
I have a feeling that'll be torn apart real quick somewhere.
Okay. People are already trying to figure out nefarious ways to beat the system.
Nefarious ways.
So they can steal a $10 game. That's fine.
Why does he always talk like a fucking dime store DM?
I don't know. But before people call us idiots, did anyone consider this? If you buy the game in the store, take it home, tap it on your Amico, kick to the internet, and then take your Amico offline, then take the game back to the store and get your money back. What is stopping Intellivision from making an offline Amico system have to tap the card again in order to play the game when the system is offline? RFID doesn't need internet connections to work. Okay. So now he's going to claim that in order to get around the common sense thing that everyone thought about was the issue with this, instead of just doing a common sense RFID shield on your fucking product, instead he's now claiming that potentially they'll force the users to have to tap the fucking card on the console every time to play the game. Can you believe that? He talks about how FCC certification isn't complete yet. He says you do not need FCC certification to manufacture a product. I repeat, you do not need it to manufacture a product. You need it to sell a product. Okay? So then why manufacture a product if you can't sell it?
Right. Why would you go into full manufacturing without knowing if it was going to meet the certification?
Are you crazy? To say that we're not ready for manufacturing and production because our FCC certification isn't coming up on the website is naive and misinformed. I would kindly advise these types of folks probably aren't the best source getting your Amico news. We could pull the trigger on the final FCC certification, so it shows up on their website anytime before the product ships. Maybe we have reasons for not doing so at this exact moment in time. I would love to hear those reasons why. Are there reasons why?
Yeah.
Pulling the trigger to me infers that there's an inference that we already know we're going to pass. We just haven't done it yet for some strange fucking reason. Why would you put off the testing of that? If this is done, all the parts are completed, why couldn't you have done that already? Playdate did it on for theirs like a year before launch. The certification was done on it. At least I think.
I can just picture Tommy now listening to this and being like, Playdate did it.
But like, you see my point though. You do not want to wait on FCC certification, because if you fail that, Ian,
you may have to go back and change very key basic things.
Design of your console. Maybe there's parts too close to each other. The shielding isn't powerful enough. You might have to do the worst case scenario, you have to do a total redesign of your board and parts inside. That's not a small thing. And FCC certification is pass fail. That's all it is. It's not like, well, we'll give you a B on it. No.
You can sell it to some people.
It's pass fail. That's insane. What kind of splicing hairs are that? Go ahead, Tommy. Manufacture 10,000 Amicos that haven't passed certification. You go for it, and then take the chance of whether or not it actually passes certification. Okay, yeah, you can do that if you're a fucking lunatic. You can do that.
I think we've seen that. I think we've clearly seen that.
These are a few examples of the type of real information that will be available on the Intellivision.
The types of real FAQ. Information.
Our FAQ will be the definitive place to get all the true and real Amico information.
True and real.
So again, this goes back to Genovi, a guy that was interested in the product, not super hardcore into the information about it, but then, I'm going to buy a product. Oh my God, I think I've been taken for a ride. So he had to go to the official FAQ to find out. No. You should put out a video. You should have put out a video showing the RFID card with the console, activating and downloading the game and then playing it. Then there'd be no misinformation. That's what you should have done on your Twitter account, on your Facebook, on your YouTube, if the ecosystem existed for that to happen. But as we know, it doesn't exist for that to happen. That's what you should have done. Not have to now worry about people finding a fucking FAQ on their site to find that on their product. Nintendo shouldn't do directs anymore, Ian. They should just point people to an FAQ. Just point to the FAQ. That'll work. And have people find it out. It's lunacy.
I bet you once the FAQ is done, they'll start banning people from Atari Age for asking questions that are answered in the FAQ.
You think so? They'll just point there?
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding about the FCC? You can't make it up about FCC certification. You can't make that up.
It's absolutely insane. That's just nuts.
Several $1 million of investment money.
Wasn't he talking about how they were doing like a million different certifications too? Like they were in the middle of certifications.
I have no idea.
That was like the big thing last spring.
There's
53 certifications or something.
All you have to do is fail on FCC certification, and you're back to the drawing board, literally, in terms of redesign potentially. I have nothing left to say on it. I just don't. I mean, yeah, the words speak for themselves, Ian.
Yes, they do.